Oh my gosh, things are getting so exciting. We are almost to the climax. Doc has gotten away, maybe, but they're not sure because he doesn't have any liquigen. How's he going to get away? Um, Shade was saying how Doc had experimented on all of them when they were in the reformatory. It's a whole thing. Oh my gosh. So, anyway, he had said that, let me see if I go back. Let's see. He was talking about being aboard the Spectre, and just then Shade pointed past us and we turned to see the Spectre surfacing in the moon pool. Chapter 28. Sorry we're late, Shade. The outlaw with the dark hair and wide smile stepped through a hatch in the Spectre's side onto its pectoral fin. Eel. Thought you'd never show. Shade strolled out of the elevator. 5 minutes earlier, and you could have said goodbye to Doc. No! Eel cried with disbelief, pounding onto the edge of the moon pool. More outlaws spilled out of the hatch, all not much older than me. Remember, Ty's like, what, 15, 16? Where's he now? Pretty demanded, pushing through the others with his long braid swishing like a sun-bleached rope. Taking a walk on the sea floor, Shade replied. Pa drew Zoe and me back into the fold of settlers. Weapons drawn, Raj and Jibby moved to the edge of the group, but they'd be no match in a shootout. The outlaws were armed and positioning themselves atop the Spectre and along the rim of the moon pool. Pretty scowled at the dark water. Drowning ain't enough, not after what he did. And here I thought my news might improve your mood, Shade said dryly. An outlaw snickered, revealing a mouthful of sharpened teeth. I recognized him from the airlock in the sunken rig, and wasn't surprised to see that his arm was in a sling. One look from Pretty stripped the grin from the guy's face. Guess he wasn't as scary as his teeth made him seem. Or else, under that cool surface, Pretty was even scarier. Ill. Shade pointed to the view phone on the wall. Bust that. Heading across the wet room, Eel passed Gemma, who was standing apart from the cluster of settlers. As he pressed his hands to the screen, he flashed her a dimpled smile. You're Gemma. I'd know you anywhere. She grinned. She ignored him. Done, he called to Shade. Do the elevator too, Shade said. We need a head start. Eel gave Gemma a sidelong look as if he wanted to tell her something. Now, Shade ordered, which sent Eel hustling to the elevator, where he placed his palm on the panel. Shade smiled at the settler's confusion. Electromagnetic pulse. Very handy. With the tip of his head, he sent Eel back to the sub. The Rangers should be here soon enough to let you all out, he told the settlers. He paused by Ma. You want to keep them safe? Stay in the ocean. Move topside, and the wealth will find an excuse to study them. You're wrong, she said. Am I? He asked softly. Skin whitening, he cocked his head towards her. When she stumbled back in horror, I saw that a puckered and rectangular scar marred Shade's scalp, like someone had created a flap to access his brain. He shouted at his gang, Am I wrong? In unison, they lifted shirts, pulled off bandanas and hats to reveal their scars. Surgical scars. Eels ran the length of his taut torso, sternum to navel. Pretties wrapped around his ear and disappeared under the collar of his silky jacket. Let's make wake, Shade ordered, only to have Gemma step into his path. That's it? You're just going to leave? Had my fill of staying in one place. When pain flashed in her eyes, Shade's expression softened. You'll do fine. You got survivor's instincts. I don't want to survive. That's what I've been doing all along, except when I was with you. Why can't I live? No, he said coldly. I was tempted to draw Gemma back. Shade couldn't have been more clear or more intimidating, but she stood her ground. Because of them? She pointed at the milling outlaws whose expressions ranged from amused to bored. Only Eel looked on with wary concern. You could at least ask them, she added, fidgeting under the weight of Shade's stare. Maybe they won't mind if I mind. He said it so harshly she staggered back as if he had slapped her. Understand this, little girl. Those ugly clam suckers, they're my family now. You're just old business I had to take care of, and did when I sent you that money. So now, you're going to keep away from me. She nodded. Though she kept her eyes down, I glimpsed her stricken expression, and a flash flood of anger rushed through me. Shade had just confirmed Gemma's worst thoughts about herself. She wasn't wanted. She wasn't special. He didn't seem to care as he turned his attention to his gang. You looking to settle here? He asked. At once the outlaws piled into the Spectre, all except for Eel and Pretty, who remained on the sub's pectoral fin. Eel watched Gemma retreat to the far wall until Pretty redirected his attention with a cuff to the head. As they disappeared through the hatch, Shade headed for the moon pool without another word to Gemma, or even a glance. Poor Gemma. She wanted nothing more than to find her brother and live with him, and now he's completely rejecting her. By the way, still haven't hit that climactic moment. So close, though. Hang in there. All right, we'll see you next time. Be safe and healthy. Be kind to one another. I'll see you later.